Tropical storm Zeta is now Hurricane Zeta, and it is getting closer and closer to the Yucatan Peninsula as it heads for the United States. Zeta strengthened to a hurricane on Monday afternoon as it continued on a track for Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula resorts, and then it is likely to move on for a possible landfall on the central regions of the United States Gulf Coast by the middle of this week. Tropical storm Zeta became the earliest ever 27th named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. It was centered at approximately 105 miles or 170 kilometers to the southeast of Cozumel Island on Monday afternoon, according to the National Hurricane Center. The storm also had maximum sustained winds of 80 miles per hour or approximately 130 kilometers per hour. The hurricane was moving to the northwest at approximately 10 miles per hour or 17 kilometers per hour, after remaining stationary over the weekend. Forecasters have mentioned that Hurricane Zeta was expected to move over the Yucatan Peninsula later into Monday before heading into the Gulf of Mexico and then approaching the U.S. Gulf Coast by Wednesday, although they are expecting that it could weaken by that time. Trees that were previously knocked down by Hurricane Delta barely 3 weeks earlier still litter parts of Cancun. They are currently stacked along roadsides and in parks. There is great concern as they could become projectiles when Hurricane Zeta scrapes across the peninsula. There are still a number of stoplights around the vacation destination that have not been repaired since Hurricane Delta passed through. Local authorities are said to be taking this storm very seriously as well, but with a distinctly less alarmed tone than when Hurricane Delta strengthened to a Category 4 storm off the coast. Persons in Quintana Roo State have suspended alcohol sales since Monday, and the governor has stated that all persons should stay off the streets by Monday afternoon. Persons living alongside the coast were seen pulling their boats from the water, but the sort of panic buying seen in the run-up to Hurricane Delta was not evident on Monday. State officials have reported that approximately 60,000 tourists in the state as of this week. The government intends to put out shelters for these persons. Their expectation is that they will need to provide 71 shelters for the tourists and the residents who might need them. The hope is that it will not become necessary to move the guests out of their hotels, but the preparations are still being made. The forecast track for Hurricane Zeta hitting Cozumel, and it is also expected to strike the mainland just south of Playa del Carmen. Delta made landfall on October 7th between Playa del Carmen and Cancun, with winds of 110 miles per hour or 175 kilometers per hour. The government is still handing out aid to assist persons who are in need. They are handing out sheet roofing to Yucatan residents who were hit hard by Hurricane Delta and also Tropical Storm Gamma in the month of October. Storm Zeta has been dawdling since Sunday because it was trapped between two strong high-pressure systems to the east and to the west in the Caribbean Sea. The Hurricane Center had mentioned that Zeta could bring 48 inches or 10 to 20 centimeters of rain to Mexico, the Cayman Islands, parts of Cuba, before it drenches the central regions of the U.S. Gulf Coast. This storm may make landfall anywhere from Louisiana to the Florida Panhandle. Hurricane Delta is extremely serious, and citizens in Louisiana are being urged to monitor the storm. And they have also managed to activate their crisis action team. Hurricane Zeta broke the record for the previous earliest 27th Atlantic named storm that formed on November 29, 2005. The 2020 Atlantic hurricane season has had so many storms that the Hurricane Center has turned to the Greek alphabet after running out of assigned English names. Zeta is the furthest into the Greek alphabet that the Atlantic hurricane season has ever gone. There was also a tropical storm Zeta in the year 2005, but that year had 28 storms because meteorologists later went back and found they had missed one, when they became an unnamed named storm was given the name Zeta in 2005. Hurricane Zeta, formerly Tropical Storm Zeta, formed close to Cuba and also became the earliest named 27th Atlantic storm ever recorded. At that time, Cuba issued a tropical storm watch for the province of Pinar del Rio. Later, the Hurricane Center mentioned that persons on Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula should monitor the progress of the storm very closely, as the expectation was for it to gradually strengthen over the next 72 hours. Epsilon at the time was located approximately 785 miles or approximately 1,265 kilometers to the northeast of Bermuda on Saturday night. That storm had sustained winds of 75 miles per hour with higher gusts, and it was a Category 1 hurricane. Hurricane Epsilon was expected to move quicker towards the northeast through Sunday and was to become a large, powerful post-tropical cyclone by late Sunday. Forecasters had mentioned that they were expecting large ocean swells to be generated by Hurricane Epsilon, and this may cause life-threatening surf and rip-current conditions along the U.S. East Coast and the Atlantic Canada during the next couple of days as the week progresses. If you live in regions close to Cancun or Cozumel, or even the U.S. Gulf Coast, be extremely careful. And of course, remember to practice the necessary hurricane preparedness tips that have been issued by your emergency organization. Remember to be safe. Ensure that you have water. Ensure that you have food. Ensure that you have candles. And also put the necessary preparations in place to secure your very important documents. Ensure that you have an evacuation plan in place. Ensure that you have bottled water stashed away for at least 2 weeks' use. If you need to store some water, you should also ensure that you clean your sinks and clean your bathroom tubs and fill it up with water. Remember to be safe during this very difficult time as we continue with the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season that will end on November 30th. We hope that after that date has passed, there will be no activity in either the Atlantic Ocean nor the Caribbean Sea that may stir the waters and develop an additional system. This year has been extremely active, and many persons have experienced many storms.